You might have heard about Plato. Plato is one of the most important philosopher. Okay. He was born in 427 BC and died in 347 BC. Now, you might have been considering that this is 427 to 347. So, okay, we are talking about BC, before Christ, and while going back we have to go in a reverse manner. Okay. So, that is why Plato, who was born in 427 and died in 347, actually you are finding their question marks. Okay. And it indicates that these dates of his birth, year and death, these are uncertain, yet there are different dates, some different critics they suggest different, some different historians, philosophers, so many different people, critics or researchers, they give us different definitions. So, who is that Plato? Plato is one of the most dazzling writers in the Western literary tradition. Okay. Now, as we know, Plato and Aristotle, both they belong to Greek. Okay. And that is why he is one of the most important Western literary person. Okay. He is there in literary tradition also, and also one of the most influential philosopher and historian. And this is his image, means throughout his life he communicated so many things, and in it the first one or the most important one, that is philosophy, and after philosophy we have his ideas about literature also, and the history of philosophy. He was an Athenian citizen of high status. Plato was an educated person. Okay. And he was from high class, high well, we can say aristocracy, and that is why he has his high status, and also he was educated, learned, and because of that also he has a lot fan following at his time also, and he has great interest in political events and intellectual movements of his time. He has communicated a lot different things. He has interest, he had his interest in political events, means whatever political activities were there at that time. So, he was he had his great participation into it, and also different intellectual movements of his time, that are also important one, and one of such a most important intellectual event that has taken place the then time Athens, that was philosophical inquiries. Okay. The presentation and communicating philosophical ideas. So, this he has communicated. Then the question he raises are so profound, and the strategies he uses for tackling them are so suggestive and provocative, means whatever ideas he was communicating to the society, he was communicating to his disciples. Okay. These ideas, these questions, queries he has raises, and all of these were very profound, means very important one, and this important questions he dealt with beautiful strategies. He arranged very what we can say the specific strategies he uses to tackle out that ideas, to prove his points, his ideas to the society and to the disciples also. In practically every age there have been philosophers who count themselves as Platonists in some important respects. Now, in every ages, okay, from beginning, now this tradition it has started in the 4th century BC. From that, now it is 21st century. Okay. So, within that tradition you find there are a lot different critics who calls themselves as Platonist, and this Platonist is a term that has been completely devoted to Plato. It arised from Plato itself, and this term has been introduced to the techniques, ideas that Plato has communicated, and the followers of that ideas and techniques, they are supposed to be Platonists. He was not the first thinker or writer to whom the word philosopher should be applied. Okay. Before Plato also, there were so many different philosophers, particularly in Western world, known philosophers are there. We also have in Sanskrit, but they are unknown, okay, and might be known, but we haven't encountered yet with them. And so, this word philosopher, it has been used for many different persons, the then time Greek, and so many different Greek persons are there, Greek philosophers are there, but Plato, he was supposed to one who is greater among them, and this is because of his self-conscious about the philosophy. Means he was supposed to be the best philosopher among them, and this term was used for him as the first important philosopher also, and this is used because of he was so self-conscious about how philosophy should be conceived. Okay. Everyone talks about morals, spirituality, ideas, so many different things are there. Means every philosopher, they have communicated about different things, about soul, about spirit, knowledge, so many things are there, human values, morals, and a lot things. But in what way philosophy should be communicated to the society, to the audiences, that is very important, and this technique, it has been tackled by Plato, and that is why he was supposed to be the greatest among these philosophers. Okay. So, here you can find the picture of Socrates and Plato, and then you can find there is a painting below that the Plato has started his academy. Actually, we will discuss this. He was a student of Socrates and founder of the academy in Athens. Plato was Socrates' students, and the next person we have to study, that is Aristotle, and Aristotle is the student of Plato. Okay. The linear generation is there. Okay. In the next part we will study Aristotle. So, Plato was a student of Socrates, and the most important work he did, that is he founded an academy in Athens, okay, his city, Greek city. So, there he started his academy, and in that academy he communicated, he taught to his students there, and Plato appears to have devoted himself to his academy. Okay, he near about last 40 years of his life he devoted for the development of that academy. It means he extensively has given lectures there for the students, and all these different lectures, they are on different topics dealing with politics, ethics, metaphysics, and epistemology, that is called as the philosophical study of the nature, origin, and limits of human knowledge. So, all philosophical ideas are there, and he continually devoted himself for these different areas, and he communicated these things to his students, to his disciples, and all these ideas of Plato. Okay. So, actually Plato hadn't written these ideas, okay, he hadn't recorded that, but the students who were studying there in the academy, okay, the disciples who were following Plato in that academy, they have collected Plato's ideas, okay, they have constructed them, they have combined them, and they produced these ideas of Plato, and that becomes different books, and near about there are 36 works which are attributed to Plato, except one, all in the form of dialogues. Now, this is something, okay, which I was talking previously, the technique that has been used by Plato, that was dialogue, okay, because in he has communicated his philosophy, he has communicated his idea, his knowledge with the help of dialogue, in the form of dialogue, and he introduced this form to communicate his philosophy, and this was the technique which has been effectively used by Plato. Dialogue form, one would be there would be one question, okay, one idea question would be introduced by speaker or teacher or student, and then the teacher will give its answer, its explanation. So, in this way he has composed, his works has been composed, and he has taught to the disciples, the students at academy, and these students, okay, they recorded all these information, their lecture notes and all these things, and these things later on compiled, and such a 36 works are there that has been attributed to them. Most of them, 35 out of them are dialogues, and some important dialogues are there: Ion, Lysis, then Gorgias, Symposium, Phaedrus, and a Republic. And what we have to study, that is his theory about art, his theory about literature, art and literature, and Plato's these theories of art and literature are mostly contained in Ion and a Republic. So, that we have to focus on. So, as I told you, these are the pictures. Socrates is there, after that Plato is there, okay, these are statues, not their images, yes, and below there is a painting by Raphael, okay, you might have known he is one of the most important painter. So, it is painting where Plato was teaching, communicating to his disciples at his academy. Okay. So, next the study of Plato must begin with his teacher Socrates, because now there is a particular link between Socrates and Plato, but the same link we cannot find in Aristotle and Plato, though Aristotle was student of Plato, but Plato was a good disciple and follower of Socrates, and that is why whatever we have to study about Plato, we find its base in the ideas of Socrates. Actually, his method of teaching was through dialogue, and since he taught entirely by word of mouth, he left no writings of his own. Socrates doesn't had anything with him. Means whatever Socrates has communicated, it was only through his mouth. Means whatever he talked, it was there, and Plato, being a student, he recorded much of ideas of Socrates in his own work. Plato put his ideas in the mouth of Socrates. Now, what Plato did, whatever Plato's ideas were there, these ideas he put into the mouth of Socrates, and it means in that dialogues Socrates is the main speaker. All most of the most important dialogues of Plato, that has been communicated by Socrates. Communicated by Socrates means, Socrates name has given to that communicator. Okay. So, Socrates is the speaker, main speaker of that, and the Socratic philosophy that Plato tries to express and debate, explore and debate is one thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. Okay, means this is idea of Socrates, and Plato researched on it. He focused on this and then tried to know different things. Okay, one thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing, and this is the truth. Okay, that Socrates has communicated, and Plato worked on this idea. Socrates destroyed the false conceit of knowledge binding the Athens to their ignorance. Okay, Socrates was a person who was devoted to destroy the false conceit of knowledge. Okay, getting knowledge or getting the things, means there was completely ignorance. Okay, if we know till the Britishers come to India, okay, till the time our Indians, they were thinking that we cannot enter into the sea. Okay, these are some ignorance, we can call it as, or superstition also we may call it as. So, that ignorance was there, and because of that what happened we know that in detail. But such ignorance Socrates tried to remove from his own city, from his country. He conversed with all who would listen. And see, when Socrates is communicating, everyone hadn't listened to him. Okay, you know the famous story of who was that, Galileo? Yes, Galileo. What he founded? He expressed, or he founded that microscope. Yes, I think. And sorry, some different name was there. So with the help of that, he said that Earth is eclipse, not round completely, sorry, not flat, because previously it was supposed, because wherever we go it seems flat. So it was supposed that Earth is flat, but when Galileo said that Earth is round, at that time different people, so many people, he wanted to kill Galileo. The same thing is there. Socrates, who studied, and definitely there was something, okay, exactly we don't know what happened, but Socrates was murdered. And after the murder of Socrates, Plato also ran away from Athens, and then he moved to some different cities. And after returning again to Athens, he started the academy, and then from that time he lived in academy and communicated to his disciples, delivered his knowledge, his lectures at the academy itself. So what Socrates did, he conversed with all who listen. Okay, means the person who wanted to listen to Socrates, he communicated with them all, and he would ask the same question. Okay, what is justice, or what is love, or what is virtue? So these ideas, these are the ideas of Socrates that Plato is going to discover from it. Plato is going to study, and then he is expressing his ideas. Now in this particular chapter of Plato, what we have to know, there are some important concepts that we have to study here, and in that first concept is knowledge. What is knowledge and what's its importance? That Plato has communicated throughout his work. As I told you, his Ion and Republic, these two are important one for our study, and among that we have taken some of the important points, and there he talks about knowledge. After that, Plato talks about the cave image, okay, that we will study a bit at that point, and then his opinions about art and literature. Okay, and in that art and literature, what we are going to study? We are going to study Platonic forms. Okay, what is Platonic ideas, which is the name, the title that has been devoted to Plato's philosophy. So what these forms are, then what is poetic inspiration and how it comes, or what it do. So that is the idea of Plato, means what Plato calls it, poetic inspiration, that we will study. And then what is the theory of imitation? Okay, imitation, or it is also called as per the title used by Plato, mimesis. And then how Plato attack on poetry, what are he attacks poetry on different grounds. So what are these different grounds and how he attacks poetry? So these important points we will discuss in the next class. Okay, till the time, study regularly and be at home. Thank you very much.